The Sainsbury's 2015 school games are now well underway here in Manchester. I'm Glenn Wheeler.
And I'm Francesca Burns. This is The Cool Down, the best place for you to catch up on all the action during the games.
We'll be here every night rounding up the day's highlights and meeting sports stars of the past, present and future.
Coming up on tonight's show,
she's one of Britain's brightest young talents. We meet Dina Asher-Smith, who just 3 years ago was competing in the school games.
It isn't just the best of British talent on show here. The games also play host to rising stars from the other side of the world.
And we take a tour around some of the venues to find out just what makes this host city so special.
School Games reaches out to so many young people, both at home and across the globe. Inspiration is never far away here at the Games, whether it's the sporting venues or the professional athletes providing their support. Competing at the Games isn't just about winning, it's about meeting new people and embracing new experiences.
Go Venus! Go Brazil!
I like Manchester. The culture is so different than Brazil, and here is so cold.
What events are you competing in for the Games this weekend?
So I will swim. I will swim, I think, 150 freestyle.
I will fight judo in the minus to 81 kilos. And I'm so excited to the competition. It must be a good experience for me, and I will do my best.
And I will be doing track and field 200 meters. And I hope to do good and make sure that Angola get a medal.
Have you competed in any other countries other than England?
Oh yes, in this year in April I was in Poland to the school games, the World School Games, and me and my team in relay, we bring the medal, the gold medal for Brazil.
However, most of the athletes competing are from the home nations. Growing up as an athlete is both challenging and rewarding. No one knows more about this than the English team captain Fran Housel and the Welsh captain Frankie Jones.
I've come as team captain just to inspire all the kids and get them into it and give them a bit of background as to what I do, how I found like multi-sport events, staying in a village, eating in a dining hall with all the countries, other teams and other sports. It's a great experience, and to be a bit of a role model in that sense and let them know how I felt when I was doing it, and that that's normal to feel a bit like, wow, this is a bit crazy, and just to give my experiences and to give them a bit of like positivity around the place and just tell them to enjoy it and enjoy competing.
Just being part of Team Wales is really important to me, and I've done it 3 times with Commonwealth Games, so to be asked again after I finished competing last year, I wasn't sure I'd be a part of Team Wales again, so it's really nice to be able to come, and especially to be a team captain, it's quite a big responsibility, so hopefully I live up to it.
Advice for the young athletes out there who maybe one day don't want to get up early to go swimming in the morning, or they just don't want to, they need that motivation. Is there anything you'd say?
You've just got to remember your goals and why you do it, I think. Like when I was younger, having to get up at 5 and then going to school straight afterwards and going back training and just being like spending 90% of the time tired, just trying to do my homework before I went to bed, before I had to get up early again the next day for training. I always knew that I wanted to be an Olympian and go to an Olympic Games, and the experience that I've had at Olympic Games has been amazing, and I sacrifice anything for that, and I'm glad that I did, because it's a once in a lifetime opportunity.
As well as offering high level competition, the Sainsbury's 2015 School Games also gives young athletes an opportunity to travel to new places. Manchester is a city with a proud sporting heritage and facilities to match. I've been taking a look around some of the venues to see what they have to offer.
From one Old Trafford to the next, we've come just down the road from the famous home of Manchester United to the Emirates Old Trafford, which is the home of Lancashire County Cricket Club. This famous old ground first hosted cricket at 1857, and since then there have been so many famous matches here. The first Ashes Test in England was hosted here in July 1884, Jim Laker took a 10-wicket haul in 1956, Shane Warne's ball of the century in 1993.
And who can forget when 10,000 supporters were shut out of the ground in 2005 as a capacity final day crowd watched England and Australia draw the third Ashes Test.
We're now here at Media City, UK. This 200-acre complex was built on Salford Quays and opened in 2011. It represents the heart and soul of both the BBC and of ITV, and it pumps out shows such as Blue Peter, Match of the Day and Coronation Street. Imperial War Museum North is just to my right hand side, and Old Trafford is still in view across the quayside. From the red half of Manchester to the blue side, we're now at the Etihad Stadium, the home of Manchester City. This was formerly the City of Manchester Stadium that played a massive part in hosting the 2002 Commonwealth Games, and the citizens moved here in the summer of 2003. Of course, Manuel Pellegrini's side relinquished their Barclays Premier League crown last season, but after 4 wins out of 4 and £130 million spent in the most recent transfer window, they're looking good to get it back from Jose Mourinho's Chelsea. We're now inside the Regional Athletics Arena underneath the shadow of the Etihad Stadium. This was used for the 2002 Commonwealth Games that was obviously hosted by Manchester, and tomorrow it will be hosting the athletics of the Sainsbury's School Games. Typical Mancunian weather has set in now. It's absolutely hammering it down with rain outside, so we've moved into the warmth that the National Squash Centre provides. Not actually hosting squash during the Sainsbury's School Games this year, instead it's hosting wheelchair basketball, and as you can see just over my left shoulder, that's what they're currently setting up for. A short journey from the velodrome, we've now found ourselves at the tennis centre. As you can see behind me, table tennis is already set up, ready to go, and wheelchair tennis is going to make its first appearance at the Sainsbury's School Games as well, and that's going to be hosted here too. This is the National Cycling Centre, and this is the home of British cycling. I've never been in a velodrome myself before, and I must say I am struck by just how steep the banking of the track is. It really is quite incredible. Of course, the likes of Sir Chris Hoy, Sir Bradley Wiggins and Victoria Pendleton have all graced this track, but this week it will be the cyclists of the Sainsbury's School Games that will be racing around this arena. This is the Armitage site, and this is a sporting venue steeped in history. The old Fallowfield Stadium used to lay on this site, and it actually hosted an FA Cup final between Wolverhampton Wanderers and Everton in the latter part of the 19th century. During the Sainsbury's School Games, the Armitage site is going to host hockey, Rugby Sevens is just going to be over on the fields to my right hand side, and in the hall just in front of me there's going to be a bit of judo as well. Not much left of our tour of Manchester now in terms of sporting venues. This is the Manchester Aquatic Centre, another host venue of the 2002 Commonwealth Games, and of course this is where the swimming of the 2015 Sainsbury's School Games is going to be held.
Dina Asher-Smith is an athlete that's becoming a household name. Just last week in Beijing, she set a new British record in 200-metre race at the 2015 World Athletics Championships. Her first experience competing in a multi-sport event was at the School Games. Today she was here to help the next generation. Alongside former Olympic sprinter Darren Campbell and Jason Gardner, she gave a sprinting masterclass to those hoping to follow in her footsteps. We went along to meet her and began by asking her if she'd come back down to earth after returning from Beijing.
It's still a bit unreal for me because 22:07 is quite a big PB, so it hasn't quite sunk in yet, but I'm feeling great. I'm just really happy to, I guess, have broken the record. I mean, it was held by Kathy Cook, who's an absolutely amazing athlete, and yeah, it feels really good right now.
You've competed in the youth games in the past. Did any of your experiences help with world events?
Definitely. I think it was more, we knew when you were competing in the school games, you knew you were competing against other people. Personally, I'm a Southeast, but you know you're competing with the best athletes from the Northwest, from the Midlands, from the Southwest, etc. So you know you've got really good competition. And I think it was just the high level competition within athletics anyway that really prepared me for competing against other people who have been obviously chosen to represent specific areas or countries being at World Championships and perform to the best of my ability. I was fortunate enough for my one to be in the Olympic Stadium. So that was pretty special. My one was in 2012 and we got to compete in there before the Olympics happened. We were kind of like a test event. So yeah, that was really special. We were just going in there wide-eyed. We got a chance to run on the Olympic track, which was super special. And then we obviously saw the amazing athletes do so well in the Olympics a few months later. And it gave us the opportunity to be like, oh yeah, I ran there before they did. So it was really cool.
Just today, earlier on, we were delivering a masterclass with the amazing Dina Asher-Smith, who a few days ago we were watching her, cheering for her on television, and suddenly she's here talking to the competitors of this Sainsbury's School Games, and I think what's quite remarkable, just being part of that little masterclass earlier on, was probably for the athletes here identifying in the realisation that 4 years ago Dina was a competitor of the School Games, and now she is one of the greatest athletes in the country, in the world, and the connection that actually 4 years time my journey may be similar to theirs. And I think that's part, what this whole School Games is about. It's about helping the next generation of athletes learn all the development lessons which they'll need if they're going to go on and be successful competing for Great Britain at the highest level.
We've had so much fun. I would say passing on skills, but these guys know what they're doing anyway. So I just mainly answering questions and giving them a bit of an insight what it's like to be, at a World Champs when you're kind of young. So it's been so much fun. I mean, they're a great group of people, and I just laughing and giggling the whole morning really.
I was inspired by watching the Olympic Games when I was 12 years old, and that made me really want to go and compete. So this is a fantastic starting point. I think the fact that you've got the multi-sport and there's all different events taking place here, it really does give them a nice little feel of what the Olympics would be like.
Some people are very precious about the Olympic gold medals, not saying I'm not, but I think it's really important to be able to share it with as many people as possible, especially young people, to reinforce that if you have a dream, whatever, how big or small it is, if you really work hard and you're passionate about achieving that dream, dreams can come true, and it really is a dream come true for me and my teammates when we won gold in Athens. And I think that's a very powerful, important message to be able to share with people.
You're currently studying history at King's College. Do you have any advice for young people on balancing studying and training?
Definitely, I'm going to say it is doable, because quite a few people go, oh no, we can't, you can't do that. You should do one or the other and make a choice. But I'll say it is doable, but in order to do it, you've got to make sure that you focus, so you've got good time management, and that you work really hard, because it's a short period of time, so you might as well just work hard, get it out of the way, and then get on with the rest of your life.
Getting nearly 2,000 athletes together in the same place is no easy task. We caught up with two of the main organisers from the Youth Sport Trust, who told us what role the event can play in the junior athletes' development.
The Sainsbury's School Games is a fantastic event for young athletes for a number of reasons. So first of all, it's forming a really important step in the talent pathway of the 12 sports that are here. So the national governing bodies of sport have identified this competition as a really important part of the athlete development experience. But also being here will be one of the very few opportunities athletes have to be in a multi-sport environment before they perhaps go on to compete at Commonwealth Games or Paralympics or Olympics. So experiencing what it's like to have downtime, to have thousands of other competitors around you, and to perform in front of big audiences, they're all really important developmental experiences for young athletes.
What's really important about the School Games is that it gives some of our most talented youngsters the chance to come to a multi-sport event, and actually our future Olympic, Commonwealth Games, Paralympic medalists are here today, and what we're doing through the finals is giving them a head start of experiencing what it means to come to a multi-sport event, have an athlete village, have to organise, transport, those sorts of things. And I think that gives them an edge when they come to compete internationally.
Hearing from the athletes like we've got here today with Dina Asher-Smith, just come back from the World Championships, fresh from the highest level of competition, is really inspiring for young athletes. But importantly, because Dina herself competed in the School Games back in 2012, she also comes with the experience to help athletes learn the lessons that she's learned along her journey and make sure they maximise everything that's an on offer here in Manchester. Manchester's hosted the Games for 2 years now. This is its second year. It's obviously got a wealth of world-class facilities, which are sort of a hangover from it hosting the Commonwealth Games in the past. It's also got a really vibrant sporting community, and working with the city and the County Sports Partnership, lots of volunteers who are here to help out on the Games. And I think generally the population here are a bit sport mad, so it makes for good venues full of cheering spectators.
An event like this creates so much excitement that of course you want to share it. We've been checking out what some of you have been posting on social media.
There's plenty of interest here in the school games, and not just from the competitors. Media interest in the event is growing. For example, when we went down to meet Dina Asher-Smith earlier today, we met one of TV's famous faces, BBC Breakfast Mike Bushell. He told us why he thinks the school games is so special.
Well, I think it's been proven over the last 10 years that these school games have been held. What a springboard it could be to actually competing on the top level at the Olympics, or indeed the World Championships, or even Commonwealth Games. Because when it started 10 years ago, you had role models like Sir Steve Redgrave, Dame Kelly Holmes, who'd obviously got to the top of their sports, but they never had this when they were growing up. And so they talked about making mistakes in those early tournaments because they didn't have the big tournament experience. Well, this gives those young athletes still at school the learning experience of a big tournament atmosphere. They have the opening ceremony, they have the athletes' village, they have everything that goes with being into the Olympics, and so they can almost make their mistakes here and learn from it here.
That's just about it from the Cool Down for now. We'll be back tomorrow night at 9 o'clock, rounding up the best of the action and meeting some of the stars of the game so far.
Hope you can join us then.
Goodbye.
Bye.